Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about, something that doesn't get discussed enough when it comes to lifting and our progress, and that's whether we're trying to lose body fat, gain muscle, gain strength, any of these things, and that's really the importance of sleep and stress management, right? I mean, we can talk about fatigue management in the gym with our training and everything, and as a coach, that's really my bread and butter. But at the end of the day, when we start adding everything up, people often think of, what does my training look like? What's my diet look like? What's my supplementation, whether they're talking about legal or otherwise, instead of oftentimes the other really important factors. How's your sleep? How's your sleep quality? How's your stress management? And that's the other thing, when it comes to stress management. Oftentimes people will say things like, well, the gym is my time to de-stress. It's like, if that is literally the only tool you have for stress management is the gym, and you haven't developed other stuff, then keep in mind, when you start training really hard, you start making real gains, you start getting real strong, the gym itself is its own stressor. Okay? And I'm not saying it can't be an outlet for some of that stress and aggression and other stuff. It can be. It absolutely can be. I mean, it can be an amazing tool for those things. But what happens when the gym itself becomes stressful? What happens when making that next milestone in the gym starts to become stressful? Okay? It is not that great of a stress outlet in the long term. It can be in the short term, and don't get me wrong. But that's also a case of where exercise addiction kicks in. When you have the people, when it becomes your only tool for stress management, well, that's when we see exercise addiction problems. That's where I get people when I tell them you should only need to train 4 days a week to make 100% of your possible strength and muscle gains. Right? You should be able to maximize all of your stimulus in 4 days, and it shouldn't even be a problem. They're like, but I need a fifth, I need a sixth, I need a seventh for the stress management. I need it because to me, gym is therapy. Ooh, now we're getting into something. They're now compromising gains because they need the gym as therapy, because that is what's happening at that point. You are probably making slightly less gains as a result of those extra days. You're also raising your overall stress levels. All right? Well, we need to have diverse tools in our toolbox. Here's what I would say to someone in the gym. Do you only have one exercise? You only have one tool in your toolbox? I'm sure you do something besides just bench press and curl, I would hope. All right? You have more than one tool in your toolbox. You have different tools in your training toolbox. We use barbells, machines, dumbbells, all these different things for different purposes. Okay? Your entire stress management toolbox, the gym, right, that's not going to work. That's going to cause something to eventually break. Whether something physically, something mentally, something emotionally, that's not going to be successful in the long term as your only tool. Now, if you have other tools to work with, it can still be very viable, even in the long term. But that also requires us to emotionally disconnect from the gym. That's a whole different thing, something I always push when it comes to really heavy lifting. Let's talk about stress management. How about not emotionally being attached to your lifts? Something I promote all the time, something I promote to my clients, something I promote on my channel. You guys know that I don't actually get upset when I miss a max deadlift. It's just no big deal. I brush it off. Learn to do that. Okay? So let's come over and talk about that stress management. You need to have ways to manage your stress outside of the gym. Also, you've got to learn to find things that let you relax, whether it's listening to music, making music, all right? Hot baths, all right? Things we talk about self-care, and that's something else, it's like you start talking to some hardcore lifters, especially younger guys, they don't know any better. Oh, that sounds like some pussy stuff to me. Really, self-care? That self-care can make the difference between you getting a 400 bench press or not. Okay? That self-care, man, can make the difference between you winning and losing. It can make the difference between you reaching that next milestone. No, man, that's not pussy stuff. That's a part of the game. Okay, that's a part of the game. You got to have some self-care in there. We have to. We have to have these other tools to help us relax, to unwind, to let go. Okay? It's important. It's very important. It will impact your progress. It'll impact your recovery. It'll impact your injury rates. Stress management. You know, you've got to take care of your mental health. You've got to learn when to relax, when to let go, when to unwind. And it can't be, the gym can't be your only tool for that, because then that becomes so dependent that you can't deload, or you can't back down, you can't take days off. All right, now you're setting yourself up for overuse injuries, overreaching. Right? Then you're going to reach less of your goals because now you're using it as your only therapy. That doesn't work. Doesn't work in the long term. And I'm telling you guys, as someone with decades in this game, it doesn't work. It's got to be just one of your tools. All right, sleep. Sleep is your other big one. You know, that affects all of it. Sleep quality. Being able to sleep, learning to stay in a cool, dark room, learning to go to bed at an appropriate time, finding that way to unwind before bed so that you do not have the weight of the world on your shoulders when you go to sleep. That comes back over to that ability to unwind. Okay? This all ties together. You guys notice that there's a reoccurring theme here. There's a synergy between all of these things. They all tie together. Man, your stress management can affect your sleep quality. Your sleep quality affects your recovery, your gains, your mental health. This is an interdependent system. Because we all have to remember at the end of the day, and those of us who train hard, those of us who really push these limits, we're not machines. We like to think that we are, but we're not. We're human beings. We're complex human beings with emotions, with recovery to deal with, all these things, all right? And you have to take care of all parts of the system, because you are not a machine, right? You're not indestructible. Your body certainly isn't. It's an amazing adaptive machine, but it's not indestructible. So you've got to take care of all these aspects, you know, that goes beyond just the training and nutrition. You have to take care of your stress. You have to take care of your sleep quality. And if you don't, then even your gym goals are going to start to break down eventually. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.